Now for what's trending in true crime, a small town on edge this morning, wondering and waiting who murdered 48-year-old Sunshine Stewart. This woman was last seen paddleboarding on a local pond in Maine. Her body has been discovered. But this morning, certainly more questions than there are answers, as 2 weeks since her death, no arrests in the case. So who wanted this beautiful and beloved woman dead? Was it a random attack? Was she targeted specifically? Let's bring in our power panel and talk about it. Let's bring in our legal eagles still with us, John Phillips, Michael J. Brown, and welcome in private investigator. He's with Black Ops Private Investigations. He's a former Army intelligence officer and served with the NYPD as well, Manuel Gomez. Manuel, I want to start with you. You've been reading up on this case, doing some research on it. How do the facts sound to you this morning?
Well, the fact that they're holding back the death report and brought in major crimes unit tells me that this was an unusual murder. And Julie, that there's a possible link between the 13 bodies found along New England. It is my professional opinion that this woman might have been killed by a serial killer. And this is why they're holding back those facts, okay? And this is going to be a nightmare for investigators because of the area being so transient. It can damage the crime scene, and the water and the humidity in that area is definitely going to make it difficult. But because they brought in crime scene unit, there's no doubt in my mind that this could be a possible link to the bodies that have been finding on the New England coast.
Wow. Manuel, I have chills because that's a case our viewers at home know we've been following, watching, reporting developments, really scary stuff. Thank you for that. Michael J. Brown, let me go to you next. Your initial impressions when you heard about this case, please.
Julie, it's hard to say. You know, you have no idea why this young lady was killed. And it could be a completely random act of violence, as you indicated, but I'm sure that the investigators are going to start exploring the relationships she may have had, both intimate relationships, maybe business relationships, anybody who had a beef with her that would potentially have a cause to commit this type of act. So they'll start exploring that, and I'm sure it will be a widespread net, and they'll do their best to narrow that down and then start focusing on some individual suspects.
Great points, Michael. Thank you. John Phillips, last but not least on the panel. Share with us your thoughts, please.
Yeah, you know, I live in Jacksonville, Florida, where we have a nice river. We have a beautiful ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, you know, still no name change for it. And this kind of stuff happens every once in a while. And we think, okay, that's sad. It's a horrible accident. And here they're telling us, well, wait, it doesn't seem like an accident. And then they're also, you know, as law enforcement, kind of reassuring the community that they're safe. And that kind of makes me look at Manuel and be like, yeah, there is something to what you're saying. And also look at Michael and be like, yeah, that's normally where you'd start. But kind of the way this case is building, we have a cliffhanger, you know, we have a mystery and an awful, sad, you know, death, Sunshine Stewart. So, there's just a lot that remains, you know, to be told to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly. Certainly, John, you're right. So apparently she was a seasonal resident there, according to some local reporting, station WGME, saying that, you know, seasonal resident there, you know, on that pond, it's called Crawford Pond, would go there all the time and would look forward to paddleboarding all the time. And this was a solo trip the evening before she was found. She was there alone. Manuel Gomez, could we talk about that? If she was preyed upon, those circumstances, how it might affect the search for whomever might have done her harm. Anything else important to note about her being alone that evening?
Well, if she was preyed upon, there's no doubt in my mind about that. And one of the things that they're going to have to do is create that timeline and who saw her and who was the last people around her. But since this is a small area in a town of approximately 2,500 people, they're going to have to zoom in on these cell towers to zoom in to see exactly where and what phones were in that area so we can eliminate the potential suspects. And that's one of the major key factors in this investigation that's going to be happening right now. But people should not be alone. Unfortunately, people think they're in God's country and they're in a nice area. They need to realize you need to have always somebody around you, especially being a female in an area like that. Unfortunately, there is no safe area unless you're home in bed.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? I know you feel so awful because, you think that you're just surrounded by nature, and unfortunately, there are bad people in the world. Don't we all know that from all of the jobs that we do and have done in this lifetime? There's a lot of bad people out there with bad intentions, and our hearts go out to her family. I understand that there's a lot of support with her friends, a lot of people that want to see justice for her. What do we think in terms of her family, anything they should be doing right now? Michael J. Brown, do you think, is it too soon for them to hire a private investigator, or should they go right ahead and do something? July 3rd was when she went missing.
Yeah, I think that the authorities are doing what they're supposed to do. There's no harm, hopefully, in hiring a private investigator as long as they, to some extent, coordinate that with the local authorities. But I have confidence in the authorities in Long Island, for instance, and I'm sure in the same instance there, where they're looking at it, looking at cell phone towers, as Manuel said, looking at where she was, gathering video, speaking to witnesses who had interactions with her, and getting as much information as they possibly can, and then also doing that background check in terms of those types of relationships she may have had over the last few months or years to see if there's anybody who would have a motive to commit this crime.
Excellent points. Our hearts go out to her family. 48 years old, Sunshine Stewart, the victim here, and we'll keep following the case, report any new developments. Manuel Gomez, thank you so much for your research and your opinions and insight on this. I know we need to let you go. Michael J. Brown, we need to let you go too. We understand you got a court case to head to, so we're going to let you go. We'll see you next week. John Phillips, you're able to stay with us. Thank you for that. We'll hit a break. When we come back, here's what's coming up next.